What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I'm currently working on a new EP and I was drawing up some ideas, doing a little sound design when my buddy Ghostnaught sent over his new Perks for Cooks pack. I figured I'd make a beat in real time for a change and go through the pack with you guys, see if there was anything that we could use. I think he even sent me a discount code, which is in the description below if you're here early enough when this episode goes live. We've got a lot to cover. Let's dive into it. As always, this episode is sponsored by DistroKid, and I'll have a little bit more on them later on in the episode. So I started things off with this guitar line from Arcade. Originally, I was going to go with like more of a bossa nova vibe, but I think this is like super chilled. We could probably do something fairly ambient, fairly sleepy. So I'm just going to double up those chords with some ample sound, semi-hollow guitar chords. Got a little bit of delay here. The BPM is 74. Nice and simple. Let's dive back into Arcade and see if there's anything else. I downloaded another kit somewhere. Here it is. And there was a little ambient pad here somewhere. See, I think I'll use that. I don't need the last part, but I have an idea for what we'll do with it. So we're just going to play this in. So all we need is a small portion of this sample. So I'm going to freeze and flatten it. And then what I'm going to do is throw it into the granulator that I've got queued up here. What I can do with the granulator is just play this sample, but I'm also keeping that file position and that spray in the same place. We're actually going to end up automating that a little bit so it moves backwards and forwards. Now, granulator file position, I'm just going to automate this a little bit, as I said, to give it some movement. 25. We'll go up to about 32 and then back down again to 25 so that it has a little bit of movement as it plays. Now, there was a sample in that did like a ba-ba-ba-ba, which was really nice. And I just want to copy that with a different instrument, make it my own a little bit. I think we could put a descending sleepy tone here. So we'll just start from G and descend down. Nice and easy. Don't think I love that note here. Command A, Command U to quantize everything. Now to record the bass, I'm just going to play between G and D to keep it really simple and mix in some notes there. Once I've put the bass in, I've started to copy my bass down onto a new track because I love to use the subsine bass, and I love to just apply noise on a new operator level. This operator is literally just that. Just white noise where I've rolled off some of the lows, and copying up that bass is meaning that the noise is going to move in velocity with those bass notes. It's super subtle, but it just gives it that more lo-fi feel. Aces, so very quickly, we've already got the melodic elements down. Now we just want to arrange some drums. I'm going to keep the kick real simple here. Ace, I don't even want this one here. I think I want them just on the downbeats. I'm going to create a new drum rack to go through Ghostnaught's pack. Aces, we've got loops and one shots. I was afraid that I would have to start creating some loops. We want to speed up our workflow, so let's see what we got here. You know what? I'm just going to fill the drum rack up. Now that I have that, I want to go into chains, choose input, output, and choke all of these drums by group 1. Now when I play something, it will be chopped off by the next thing that I play. So now I can kind of tease this out and see what's going to work. See, even that works. Just playing C and C sharp on these two samples. I actually had a different idea of how I was going to utilize these samples, but that works really, really well. So let me just duplicate that. I'm going to copy and paste this sample to the very top. So we've got a whole plethora of samples to use. So right now it's a big cacophony of samples. Then what I'm going to do is choose the arpeggiator from MIDI effects, drop that on there, and then the velocity tool. The velocity tool is going to be set to random, but I'm going to take that lowest velocity up to about, I don't know, 65, so it's not too quiet. I'm going to set this arpeggiator to free, and hopefully we'll get some cool little textures that we can sprinkle in the project as well. So it'll sound a bit odd at first, but bear with me. I'm going to take this track and then I'm going to hit beats, forward transient, and then pull that down. And we get this. See, that's nice. So now we can throw that back into the mix. And they'll work nicely with an aligned delay. They'll feel like super glitchy and wide. So we'll add a little bit of reverb as well. Pull that mix down, decay down a little bit, attack up, size down, and take all the muddiness away with the low cut. And then, as I said, the aligned delay just sitting in the middle there. What we can do is duplicate that track and turn off the arpeggiator and the velocity tool. Obviously get rid of our grouped MIDI instructions here, and then choose to record in the MIDI information from drum rack track 10 here. Now, if we get a pattern that is almost what we're looking for, we can edit those MIDI values. Check this out. So I like this first part. Now, if we set it to all ins, we can hear this. Plays the exact same every time. I'm not liking this sample here, so I'm just going to switch that to something a little bit more poppy. And I want that to loop over, and that'll be my pattern. And then I want to freeze and flatten that so I can have better control over this sample as well. And I'll delete those sections where we have any rolls here. Then I can delete that drum rack. These are sounding really lovely, Ghost Snort. Thank you so much. I think with all that movement and there's a little shaker in there, I don't need a hi-hat, but I will choose something from the one-shot pack that will act as a snare. It's not going to be in a go-go. It might be the fruit hit. That will work for sleepy lo-fi stuff. Yeah, that's going to work really nicely. So we'll duplicate that over. Okay, so I'm going to get a new drum rack. I'm going to show you something cool that you can do with claps. Oh, that reminds me. This episode is sponsored by DistroKid. They make it so easy to get your music on all the streaming platforms. They even have master tools like Mixer. So if you're feeling a little bit lazy like I am and you don't really know your way around mixing and mastering, you can use their AI software to make your track nice, dynamic, and loud for streaming services. Oh, and don't forget they've got an app now as well. So if you want to upload a track from there, check your stats, or use it the way I do to check DistroKid Bank to see if you can afford a coffee, things really are super easy with DistroKid. If you want to jump on board with me, start releasing some music, there's a link in the description below. You'll get 7% off your first year. Let's get back to the episode. We're going to take some of the one-shot claps and we're going to choose my strum device, which you can find at the Patreon. We're going to insert a MIDI clip. And just as we did before, we're going to put all of the samples in the same place. Aces, my camera just died, but it's okay. The show must go on. Right now, my samples are all playing together. If we add my strum device, then they kind of roll a little bit. So we've got something that plays alone and then something that plays with a bigger texture. I love these like beatbox mouth water drop things. So I'm just going to throw them in at the end, warp them, pitch them up a little bit so they're in key with what I have. I think that'll work well with some reverb. From here, I think it would be beneficial to add some risers, some atmospheres, and then I think we can call it a day. Okay, so I recharged those batteries, came back to the beat and realized it was fairly quick, right? Which is always nice to create your beat at a faster pace, but sometimes doesn't really suit the vibe. So now what I've done is slowed that beat down to about 65 BPM and then added this synth layer underneath, which just acts as a kind of pulsating layer. It was just made out of Serum, and I'm just EQing the EQ8, adding a line delay and Valhalla, and then putting the drift plugin underneath, making sure that, again, like waves, I automate the low pass to the high pass with a little bit of OTT. You can download 10 of my drift presets over at my Patreon. All right, listen to this. So there we have it, guys. Cooking something up in real time for a change. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what direction you'd like to see this EP go in. If you want to see more ambient vibes or that lo-fi boom bap, as well as anything else and what you'd like to see in future episodes. Thanks again to Ghostnaut for chucking that pack my way. Let him and I know if you're going to use it within your works, and you can tag us in your work over at the Discord as well. We've got a little share your work tab. I'd love to hear what you cook up. For now, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.